I'm only happy when it rains. I'm only happy when it's complicated. And though I know you can't appreciate it, I'm only happy when it rains.
Alright, I'm going to do a really quick video on camera system that we use, and I'll tell you some good things and some bad things. Okay, so here's my Nikon D80, and I'll go ahead and this is actually how we store it for travel, because I had a on a plane trip to Las Vegas, I had the camera with the lens attached, and you know, when I got into photography, when I started taking pictures, see how you have that big aluminum ring? Well, you used to have that on the lenses too. So the mating between the lens and the camera was super strong. Well, on that trip something happened and it got bumped, and it created a problem. So I JB welded the thing back when I got home, and I wasn't able to take the photographs I needed to on my break. So what is this? This is a Nikon D80, which is a pretty good camera. It's a I think 10.2 megapixel, and I have added onto it a battery carrier that carries two of the. These are actually sort of high powered. These are 4,200 milliamp hour batteries in the same form factor as the normal Nikon battery. And it also has a shutter release here, and you get another multi-control here, and auto exposure, autofocus changing thing here. Alright, and this lens is a 55 by 200 VR. It's got vibration stabilization, and it's got actually, that's all it has. It has vibrations, anti-vibration thing. And most of the, you know, being a student of photography, and most of the pictures that I used to take, my first camera was a Canon film camera that we bought at an auction and had it refurbished, and it worked pretty well. And then I bought for Christmas one year, I got a Nikon N2002 with a 50 millimeter lens, you know, just close to the focal distance of your eye. And that was a really good camera, and it's a camera that I still use occasionally if I ever take film. Now this Nikon D80, a patient of mine had a Nikon D70S, and I took some and it's only 6.2 or 6 megapixel camera, and I have children. At this point, 2 children I think I had when we bought this camera. And one problem with taking pictures of children is that when you bring the camera up, they'll charge the camera, or they'll change the focus by movement or something like that. Now the brilliant thing with my patient's D70S was that I was able to take 40 pictures in, you know, 3 or 4 minutes, and the shutter speed was so fast that I'll give you an example. We had a Sony camera that used memory sticks, and you would take the picture, so you compose the picture, you press the button, and it would go recording, recording, recording. Now if there was any motion in the beginning of that recording, then the thing would be blurry. But you can take, I think, 3 or 4 frames a second with this digital SLR. Now we're Greek Orthodox Christians. We didn't grow up that way, but that's what my wife and I are. And we have some services like Easter service, our Pascha, which all the lights in the church are off except for candlelight. And this past Pascha, I took a number of pictures where I actually could not see what I was taking a picture of. I knew where my kids were. I could see that they had candles, but the sensor, you know, I set the ISO really high. The sensor was so much better than my own vision that we were able to get good pictures from that. So here's the setup. Nikon D80, and I wish we'd waited just a little bit, and I'll tell you why that in a second. Nikon D80 with a 55 to 200 millimeter zoom. Now this is the third lens that we've had. We had the one that was habitually that I broke on a trip on that flight, and then I repaired it, and at my old office my daughter pulled it off of a high counter and really broke it, and then we replaced it with another one that did not work well. It was junk basically, but it was cheap. But ultimately, it's better to have decent stuff. And then we got this one, and this one is a Nikon branded. It was actually refurbished. That's why it was so cheap. It was refurbished by Nikon. So great high quality thing. And having the double batteries, and this is something weird. I've got a 32 gig card in it, so here that, and you can see that the battery is only down 1. Well, I haven't charged up the 2 batteries for over 1,000 pictures, and you can see I can take 3.2 thousand pictures left on storage size, and it does take really good pictures, and especially of kids, because the shutter speed is fast, and that's invaluable. Now, this was this battery, extra batteries and a holder, probably cost less than $100, and these were eBay purchases, and they came from China, but now the lenses come from China, so it's hard to get upset about that. Now, one thing that I wish I had that I don't have is I wish I had a D90. I wish I had the next one up from this, just because it does HD video. And so this thing, I'm actually using my Toshiba Camilio BW10 to shoot this, and this is what I use for all these tripod mounted videos, is the Toshiba Camilio. But I really wish I had, this lens and able to shoot full motion video. So I wish I had the D90. But thankfully, we haven't invested too much stuff into accessories and things. So eventually, for maybe $400 or $500, sometime in the future, I will be able to pick up a D90 body, and so that would be well worth it. But yeah, that's the one thing that this camera does not have that I wish it did have. Let's see, we're gonna do this. Is gonna be sort of odd. We'll power it up here, and I'll show you some of the pictures. There's some of my kids. That's at Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. I'll get back here just a little bit. So really, for a family type camera, this is just awesome. These are all my little people. And there's me for a second. So that's a good shot of the Capitol. And on the computer, so that's inside the Library of Congress. On the computer, there's Library of Congress. On the computer, these pictures are fantastic. And I shoot everything large, and I used to do RAW, but RAW just became, because I would have to convert things to upload it. So there's John C. Calhoun. Here's my phone. Somebody's calling me. But you can see what a wonderful camera it is. And again, I'm going to end this now. Great system. Just wish it was a D90.
I'm only happy when it rains.